Hey, good people, Davia here, and welcome to another episode of Tales from the Shaker, a Davia Williams Stevenson podcast. It's going to be another good one. I say that every time because it's just true. It's just true. And I really want to take you along with me on this journey. Another incredible human beside me today in the chair. His name is Otis Winston, Otis D. Winston.
Otis D. Winston.
Has lived a lot of life in your few years. You know. You grown, but you know what I'm saying? You've done a lot of living. And you are shining in incredible ways. I cannot wait to see what else God has for you. And so I am so honored that you found some time in the middle of a week, in the middle of a day, to come over here and sit with me. And let's just have a conversation. As I say to you all every week, Tales from the Shaker, the premise is the shaker is any circumstance or event or life change or transition, anything that causes you to think a new way, learn a new thing, try a new thing, learn something about yourself, get in touch with your resilience. The shaker is, of course, you, the mover and shaker, right? And the shaker is also, the cocktail shaker. Well, I will mix up a cocktail or a mocktail just to toast our conversation, just because it's always something to celebrate at the end of our conversations. So I'm going to do just a brief intro, let people know a little bit about you. And those who don't already, but my goodness, Otis D. Winston, actor, author, speaker, and athlete, at least former athlete, right?
Yes,
Otis D. Winston is lighting up the entertainment world with talent, tenacity, and charisma. This is the truth. From displaying his captivating presence on hit shows like SWAT and The Chi to delivering unforgettable performances in films like Greenland and The Plane. He's become a standout on the screen. His ability landed him roles in all three of the Venom movie series, something only the lead actor and one other actor achieved. I didn't know that. That's awesome. As one of only two sport captains at the Ohio State University's history, he's still the record holder for the high jump. He's an athletic legend. And now with the release of his debut book, Stuttering to Success, and I can't wait to talk about this. Let me hold it up so y'all can see it, because we need to put you in touch with his website. We buy through your website, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And get this inspiring book. He solidifies his AAA status as an all-around actor, athlete, and author. His signature blend of grit, grace, and genuine charm continues to fascinate audiences both on and off the screen, and now in print. And I'm going to read your mantra. It's not how you start, but how you finish, and it echoes throughout your work. He is courageous to turn obstacles into opportunities whenever he shares his story. And so I can't wait for you all to hear his story. Otis proves that a stutter is just a pause, and the story is far from over. And there's a bunch of film credits that I could share with you. He's got the publication of the book. He's speaking all over the place, so I'm sure there's a way to book you for that. Is doing acting seminars. I mean, you are busy.
Yes, ma'am.
You are one busy brother. I saw you speaking at high schools and here and there. Yeah. I am so excited to have a little bit of your time. So
thank you for
being here.
Thank you for having me. I'm honored to be here. Yeah. Honored to share what God is doing in my life and just try to inspire others to do it.
Yeah. I think when you show up as he has made you to be, God can only be glorified. And I know that another thing I've heard you say, and it's very unusual, I think, in your industry, you don't use an agent.
No.
You said that. What is your phrase?
God is my agent.
God is my agent.
God is my agent. Yeah, I've been doing it for going on 15 years now, and everything I've booked without agent or a manager. So God is my agent, and he's just been blessing me. He's been putting me in the position to meet the right people, because when you get on set, your work speaks for you, and that's, like I say all the time, the last line of my book is, never allow your talent to take you where your character can keep you.
I know, that's awesome.
So talent will get you in the room, but your character keeps opening doors more and more and more.
Yeah. I want to repeat that. Never allow your talent to take you places where your
character
can't keep you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's something there. So I'm trying to understand this journey. You're from Columbus, right?
No, I'm from Ohio. I'm born and raised in Youngstown. Okay. Just moved to a small town called Toronto. That's where I graduated from. But born and raised in Ohio, Buckeye State, Buckeye born.
Okay. So you got to Columbus through Ohio State as an athlete at Ohio State.
Yeah, came here through Ohio State.
Track and field and basketball.
Yes.
Captain for both.
Yes.
Was that simultaneous?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah. Even in the book, it talks about when we had a big game on a Saturday night. Played against Minnesota when Vashawn Leonard was the star of the team. We ended up beating them when they was ranked in the top 20. And the next day, I flew to Chicago to stay with my brother. The Big Ten Indoor Championships were in Champaign, Illinois. My brother and I woke up late. And we rushed from Chicago to Champaign. By the time we got to the track meet, the high jump had already started. But the coaches were passing me to each height. I walk in, out of the car, jump, win the Big Ten championship, get on the bus, come back to Columbus, and go back to basketball practice on Monday.
That's crazy.
I did it both at the same time.
So did you go to class?
I did. I did. I really did. Because what I tell my kids this all the time, athletics get you there.
Yeah.
School keeps you there. Mm-hmm. There's so many people who get to school.
Student athlete.
Yes. Yeah. It's student first. Athletics can get you to that college, but going to class will keep you in that college. Because if you don't go to class, you will be replaced.
Yeah.
There's someone waiting in line to come in after you. So I make sure I stress student athlete.
Yeah, and your son's a student athlete, correct?
He's a student athlete at The Ohio State University.
At The Ohio State University.
Actually,
that's a fun legacy.
He's a high jumper. He's chasing my 30-year-old high jump record.
Okay.
He has a documentary coming out called 225. That's the height that I jumped. So it's his quest to towards and breaking 225.
He's got a documentary coming out. Yeah. Okay. All right. I feel distracted now. I don't even know where to go because that's a whole story in and of itself. All right. So this story kind of begins it doesn't begin. It begins with you as a young child. And let's talk a little bit about, let's talk about the book because I think that will provide an outline for us to tell your story. So, born and raised, live in the small town, Toronto, Ohio.
Youngstown. Born and raised in Youngstown.
Born and raised in Youngstown.
Yes.
What's Toronto?
Toronto is where we moved when I was 10.
Okay.
So I was born Northside Hospital, grew up in Westlake Projects in Youngstown.
Okay.
And that's when we moved to Toronto when I was 10 years old.
How many siblings?
5.
5 siblings.
It's four siblings, 5 of us
5
total.
kids, yeah.
5 kids total.
Okay. And so the title of your book, Stuttering to Success, and I know the stutter has a couple of meanings.
Absolutely.
Stuttering is, as many of us would understand stuttering to be, is you called it a speech influency, I think is what you called it, or you talked about speech fluency.
Yeah.
That was a phrase I hadn't heard. I underlined it. Speech disfluency.
Disfluency. It's a stammer.
A stammer.
It's a stammer.
And then I know that as we move through the story and get to your athletics, the stutter has another meaning as well.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So let's talk about the speech disfluency and how that manifests and what kind of effect that had on you and your family and your school, just on you as a little boy.
It was hard, I was the only one in my family with it. So I don't think my parents knew how to react to it. But the one thing my mom always made me realize, she was like, you don't have a handicap. There's nothing wrong with you. That's your stutter. Own your stutter. And my brother, I had to own it. I would get frustrated. People who with a stutter, you can get frustrated because you want to get it out. Yeah. And the more frustrated you get, the worse it gets. So I had to, I fought a lot growing up as a kid. And you would think that I had a lot of issues outside of the home, but I fought more inside the home, because my brothers really let me have it. I'm the youngest of 4 boys. Okay. So my brothers were being big brothers. And I talk about it in the book, how my mom used to make us all get around the bed and pray every single night. And my brothers were always late for prayer until it was my night. It would run when it was my night because I was their entertainment. Yeah. And one day I asked my mom, I was like, why do you make me do this? Why do you make me do this? She made my brothers get out and she sat me down on the bed. She says, baby, there's going to come a day where there's things that you have to do and people will laugh at you, but you still got to do it because it's what you're supposed to do. And she always gave me these little gems, you know, and I get emotional talking about it because, you know, my parents were my superheroes. To be honest with you, my brothers were my superheroes. I was the youngest. I always wanted to be like them. Even though they made fun of me, I realize it now that it was making me tough. It wasn't that they didn't love me. Yeah. They were being brothers. Yeah. So, but it was rough. And I learned, like, I was still away. I would always watch television, not knowing that TV was my escape. Because I got to pretend to be somebody that I wasn't, because who I was I didn't like, because the stutter got me made fun of.
Isn't it interesting how all the pieces are, you think you're escaping, but you're actually probably developing inspiration, right? To be in movies, to be a person who does public speak. You speak for a living. Right? And you thought that you were just getting away from some of the harassment by watching TV. But there was something there, whether you were aware of it or not, that was inspiring you or giving you a roadmap for what was possible. Yeah. Were you aware of that when you were young?
I wasn't. I had this saying, I would never stutter when I would say it. I would watch my favorite movies come on, TV shows come on. I would always get up and scream, time for the movies, folks. That's all I would say, but I would never stutter when I would say it. Okay. And it was my little hidden oasis. I would get my little TV and I would just be in my little cubby watching it by myself, escaping. I had no idea everything I was going through wasn't really for me. I had to realize, I didn't realize that till I got older. Everything I went through as a child, everything I went through as a teenager, as a young adult, it wasn't for me. It was so that I can inspire somebody else, that if he can get me through it, you best believe he can get you through it.
I totally believe that.
Yeah.
Right. Otherwise, many of our lives seem like a collection of random sufferings.
Absolutely.
Right. I had cancer the first time as a teenager.
Wow.
And just so many things, right? And losses and battles. And I mean, I would tell you, as a young teenage girl, didn't have a ton of confidence, but the one thing that everybody commented on was Davia was built.
Yeah.
Okay. And so for all the things, the one place I had a lot of my confidence was in my figure. Yeah. And
they called you that young brick house, didn't they?
That was kind of a thing, but I was so much more than that. But that was the thing. Yeah. And so for all of the assaults on my body, and now I know that God took away my props. I use that as a prop.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't have developed my character. I wouldn't have developed my mind. I thought that's what I had.
Yeah.
I didn't have some of the other things that I thought I should have.
Yeah.
And so for all the many surgeries that I've been through and for all of the scars all over my body, I had to lean on the Lord and develop my identity in other ways.
Absolutely.
You know, and so it seemed like all loss, like all a thing that made me a misfit. Nobody else was going through chemotherapy at 17 years old like I was, and away from my family. Absolutely. Just like you with your stuttering and finding your cubby and all of those things and leaning into movies. It's the movie time and all of that was part of building who you are.
Absolutely.
Don't you ever wonder, like, you're still here. So I wonder what things are still building you for the next thing. You ever think about that? Like, everything. Wonder what God is using to build the next thing.
These past 15 years have been, I'm like how he fed Elijah at the brook from the mouth of the raven. And I was like, Lord, like I've been being fed from the mouth of the raven for this past 15 years. And I used to wonder all the time, like, how in the world the Israelites out there for 40 years murmuring?
I was like, how long does it take you to figure that out?
But then I started to think about in my own life, can you imagine? He fed them manna daily, and they couldn't store it. If they stored it, it would rot, right? So they had to learn how to depend on him daily. For these past 15 years, I had to learn how to depend on him daily. When I got full custody of my kids, it's a daily thing. People don't understand everything I've been through because I hide it and I mask it. Mm-hmm. But this walk has not been easy. Mm-hmm. And sometimes I'm like, God, like, why me? Ever since I was a kid, there's always been something I had to fight. And I'm still fighting. But you know I'm not going to give up. Because I got my kids and my grandkids watching me, and I got to show them that all you have to do is trust him. Trust him. Sometimes I do want to wake up and be like, man, my bank account, I don't even got to look at it to see a bill being paid. But it's a daily thing. And once I get done figuring out what it is he's trying to get me through, and he say, okay, now it's time, Otis. You're ready for everything that I've always destined you to have. And I'm going to do it until my last breath, because that's what it's about.
I love a couple things, and I strongly believe that your journey is not just for you. Your gifts aren't for you. Gifts are to be shared. Gifts and talents are to be shared. That's what a gift is. It's to be given, right? Not to be kept. And I think when you are authentic and surrender to your gift, that's when the blessing happens.
Absolutely.
And that's one of the things I think about heaven is like, will I get to see? Because we don't know who's watching, who's receiving. There's sometimes when you get to see. Yeah. There are moments when people will come up to you and tell you what was inspiring, or thank you for this, or you see your touch. But I imagine that the reach, I talked about the reach with my a previous guest. I used the metaphor of Instagram. Right? You have your finite number of followers where you can count the number of followers. But if you look further, you can see what the reach is. Absolutely. And the reach is often many times more than your followers. The followers you see, the reach, you don't know who those people are, but they're real people too.
Absolutely.
Right? And so it's like, I wonder, what is he doing when we choose to surrender with authenticity to even those moments that are like, you gonna have to explain this one to me. Yeah. I do not see the benefit of it, and I would rather learn this lesson in a different way.
Absolutely.
I've got those spaces too, right?
Absolutely.
It's like, this what we doing? We doing this?
Yeah.
You know, ask me what I think is best, Lord. Those moments, you're not listening to me. Please explain this. But when I understand my place as a child, as a recipient of all the things, and I think you embody this, there is a humility about you, Otis, that is so beautiful. I just met you a few months ago. Yeah. We have a mutual friend at a birthday party, and there was absolutely a connection. I think it was a spiritual connection. Absolutely. We said that we would connect and do this at some point. Your book wasn't out yet. Was mine out? Mine was just out.
Yours was just out.
Mine was just out. Yeah.
Mine was coming out.
And it's been a really blessed experience. We've been able to kind of coach each other along the way. I learned this. Let me tell you about this, so you don't fall into that pitfall.
You've been a big blessing.
I didn't know you could call Amazon. That helped me
to get your books released.
Yes, it did. That helped me in a pinch. So that's been really, really cool. Okay, so let me get back on track with your story a little bit. So you use movies to escape not liking yourself, not struggling with being one that stuttered and even being made fun of by your brothers, who now it's love, but you don't know that in the moment. Tell me a little bit about high school. What was high school like for you?
Well, high school was good,
Well, by then you're tall and you're an athlete, right?
The stutter stopped when I was 11, so I didn't have the stutter no more. What's crazy is we moved from Youngstown to a town called Toronto, Ohio. We went from an all-black school to now I'm like the only black in my class, so that was an adjustment. And it was difficult at first because I was still angry. And because I still have my stutter, and now not only do I have a stutter, I'm a stuttering kid who's the only black in his class, and I don't fit in. I stand out like a green thumb, and I had to figure some things out. And I talk about it in my book, man. The thing to Toronto, I couldn't hide no longer. I couldn't hide. See, in Youngstown, I was able to blend in because it was multiple of us. Yeah. Yeah. And in Toronto, I couldn't blend. So God was taking me somewhere where I had to figure things out and stand out and get used to standing out. So what do I need to do to stand out? Well, the first thing I did was talent shows. I was joining talent shows and singing and dancing and doing Michael Jackson and El DeBarge Rhythm of the Night and loving all this stuff. I love being on stage.
Okay.
What I didn't understand is that my family didn't understand that I love being on stage. My family got more attention for being athletic. So I stopped being on stage.
Were your brothers athletes as well?
Oh yeah, they were my superheroes, you know. And so I stopped being on stage and started focusing on being athletic. I wasn't good at it at first. I was told I stunk. I was told I stunk, and I had to focus on it. And I went from stinking to being the best basketball player in the 7th grade and being the best basketball player in the 8th grade and playing varsity as a freshman with my brother and making it to the state meet as a freshman in the high jump and no hiding. And then the kid coming up to me telling me I don't deserve to be there and that I stunk, you know. Then coming back my sophomore year and averaging over 18 points a game as a sophomore, and then going to the state meet and barely getting to the state meet and going the high as I went before the state meet was 6'2". I get to the state track meet and I go from 6'2" to 6'10 and a half to break the Division III high jump record all in one meet. I went from 6'2" to 6'10 and a half in one meet to be
PR
the PR and the state championship.
Amazing.
Then I won the state championship again my junior year, averaging over 25 in basketball. I won it my senior year, the first high jumper to ever jump over 7 feet in the Ohio Valley. And then the average of triple-double my high school year in basketball, and then come to Ohio State. So it was good. It was a lot of me understanding me. I prayed every night. I said, God, just give me the strength to do what I need to do. And I was focused on me being the best version of me. I didn't have time for nothing else. I just wanted to be the best version of me.
So tell me about this tenacity, because that, did it come from the anger? Do you know where how you go from stinking to being the best? I don't.
You trying to get a brother emotional?
Yeah.
One, I saw my mom and my dad. My dad always had some type of business. You know, when we lived in Youngstown, we were right outside the projects, but our basement he turned into a store. You know what I'm saying? Even though we was right out the projects, we moved from the projects to the house, and he turned the basement of the house into a little grocery store. And my mom always worked. And when we moved to Toronto, my mom worked 2 jobs. You know, and I would go with my mom, and she would have to clean people's houses, and I would go with her. And some of the houses she cleaned with some of my classmates, and I would watch her clean, and I would go and help her clean, and then I would shovel snow during the winter and make sure I gave that money to my mom because I didn't need it. I just wanted to help her. So the tenacity came from, one, the stutter. I had to stay at it to not be able to do it and not be afraid to do it. And 2, watching my mom and my dad always try to be the best versions of them. I mean, my dad is 84, my mom is 80, and they still working. My dad, he gonna find an antique shop to go shop at.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? My mom is gonna go and spend time with these kids and help them. So I learned by really, really watching them. You know, and this tenacity of my mom always telling me I had to be 120 times better just to be seen at the average when we moved to Toronto. I'm a young black boy. In order to be seen as average, I got to do 120 times better than them. All right, bet. That's what I'm going to do. And that's what I stick with. So that felt
like a challenge as opposed to a weight. All right, I'll rise.
I'll rise. It wasn't a weight.
Yeah.
You know, a weight is what you put on yourself.
Okay, now I'm gonna take a sip.
I'll take one with you.
I'm so glad this is recorded.
Yeah.
Because I'll get the audio before the video comes out, and I'll listen to it again, and I'll come up with a title. So I'll get to take notes next time for some of this wisdom that you are dropping.
Yeah. I had to learn that a weight is something you put on yourself, and that's why I tell these kids when I go speak, the only competition I ever focus on is me.
Is you,
right? Me being the best version of me. I had no idea it'd make me the 3-time state high jump champion. the two sport captain at the Ohio State, jumping over 7.4.5 at the Ohio State, being a 4-time Big Ten champion at the Ohio State University. I had no idea. I just wanted to be the best version of me. Now, if the weight I would put on me is me competing with other people. Okay. So if I'm trying to match somebody else, that's a weight. That's holding me down. Yeah. In this acting game, I'm not trying to be Mr. Denzel Washington or Will Smith or Jamie Foxx or Tom Hanks or Tom Cruise or whoever. I'm just trying to be Otis. I'm trying to be Otis Winston. I want to be the best version of me, and I want a young person to be able to look at me and say, God dang, he did it. He did it. A friend of mine, Pastor Kenny, just called me on my way over here. He FaceTimed me. He was talking to these kids that were in school suspension. And he was like, can you just give them a word of knowledge? And they're from Youngstown. And he FaceTimed me. And him and I are talking. And he turned me around. I can see the kids. And all I can do was say, I remember being where you were. But for them to be able to see me where I am now and realize I came from where they are, that's inspirational.
You can get me emotional, which people that know me know that I wear my emotions pretty close to the surface. Yeah. But I love a word of encouragement. I think that's where we connected, where our spirits connected. It's like, I just want to learn and grow and share so that others can do the same.
Absolutely.
Right? And return to my maker as a Davia he created.
Absolutely.
And I know that I have limiting messages that I sometimes battle. Do you have limiting thoughts or the thoughts that want to limit you that you have to speak truth to?
Absolutely. Like, I'm an actor that lives in Columbus, Ohio. Without an agent.
But God, well, nobody can see but you, like, the spirit.
And that's another thing. Yeah. Like I tell people, when I came up with the title, when God gave me the title, Stuttering to Success, right? The stutter is not supposed to make you stop. It's a pause.
That's good.
It's a pause. It makes you pause, rethink, refocus, regroup, and keep going, right? My stutter was not my stumbling block. It's my stepping stone. Most people allow their stutter to make them stop. Mine's caused me to step higher. It made me step higher. Yeah. Step higher. So it's so much that I've gone through. It's so much that I allow to motivate me. Because on the outside looking in, I'm the kid who they said would never be able to properly speak. And I graduated from The Ohio State University with a communications degree.
Yeah.
What happens, what we fail to realize, if we're going to get a little spiritual.
Yes, let's go.
The enemy will attack your gift as a child to get you to lose faith in that gift. He attacked my gift. The one thing I hated to do the most is my biggest gift now. I hated praying because I got made fun of for praying. Now praying is my tool that gets me where I'm supposed to go. So he attacked me as a child to make me be afraid of what God placed on me. Yeah. He made me almost like abort the mission that God placed on me because he attacked something that made me get made fun of. Now, the thing that I got made fun of is what God is using to inspire millions and millions of people. So if you're being attacked as a kid, what he's attacking is what your gift is. Because that's what it was for me. I had no idea. I was just a little kid and no one could help me and no one could tell me and no one can get me out of my own way. But I'm like, God, why me? But now I understand. And when I look at my children, I raise them the way I wanted to be raised. I give them what I wanted somebody to give me. That's the difference. That's the difference. So don't allow what he's attacking to make you abort what God is truly trying to do. Just like when he gave Joseph the dream, right? Joseph shared it with who? His family. Yep. Who the ones who attacked him for his dream? His family. Yeah. Now God showed him the end. The end is what gave him the faith to go through the in-between. He didn't show him the pit. He didn't show him Potiphar's house. He didn't show him the prison. He just showed him the end.
All righty. Wow.
He just showed him the end. Mm-hmm. Can you imagine if he showed him the pit, Potiphar's house in the prison? He wouldn't have the faith to get to the end. He didn't show me my pit. He didn't show me everything I would have to go through with this mantle that he's placed on me because I didn't ask for it. I didn't. But I'll take it.
You'll take it.
I'll take it like everything else. And I'm going to stand here. And you swing at me, I'm going to swing back. You know, I get it. I'm going to swing back. Yeah. The enemy, I know how you fight in me. I know you will come at me financially. I know you will come after my character. I know you will have people talk about me. I know I don't care about that. Because someone asked me, what do I think? At the end of the day, when it's time for me to go home to the sweet by and by, the only thing that matters to me is when people walk up to my children and they say, you had a good dad. I want my children to be able to look at them like, no, I had a great dad. I had a great dad. That's why I stayed in Columbus. That's why we got full custody over them, because I refused to be the man chasing his dream. And one day my kid's sitting on a couch like this, talking to a stranger, asking him, why did my father leave me? Yep. I refuse to be that guy.
I know that's right.
I'm sorry.
I am so full and inspired and challenged. You spoke to some of my own wounds. I've never lost control. In one of my podcast episodes before, but this is not what I expected, and I am so thrilled. I knew you were a man of faith. I knew that. We touched base on that. Absolutely. God is my agent. Those are great taglines.
Yeah.
But to sit right here 3 feet from you and look in your eyes, I see the love from your parents. I see the wisdom, all the things they've deposited in you. I've got a whole new, and I know somebody else is going to get it, a whole new appreciation for where the enemy attacks. I'm so glad I asked that question.
Yeah.
Well, God told me to ask it because I didn't know where we're just going to have a conversation.
Absolutely.
So I believe that's true, because that's what somebody needed to hear, right?
Yeah.
That's what somebody needed to hear. Thank you, Otis.
Oh, you're welcome.
We only scratched the surface. I didn't get to read some things. I don't need to. Like, you shared the essence of who you are. And I can't wait to see what's next.
Thank you.
Cannot wait. I'm glad I get to be a witness, kind of a close enough witness. I can call you.
Absolutely,
you know?
absolutely.
I'm so glad. Thank you for your time. Y'all, I know we did the thing this episode. I know that there was something you heard in this conversation that you resonated with, and that it inspired you to shake up some things in your own life. I know you did. I forgot the drink. I made it up. It's
very
a mocktail.
It's very good.
Quite refreshing. I took some mint leaves and muddled them with a little bit of agave, some pineapple juice, some sparkling water, garnished it with cucumber and lime and a little piece of pineapple, and it's quite refreshing. So
yes,
cheers to you.
Cheers to you.
And blessings on the next many legs of your journey.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you.
All right, good people. It's been another episode of Tales from the Shaker, a Davia Williams Stevenson podcast. Be blessed.